It's funny, we've used a couple words from I guess the old school PUA words,
stuff.
you know,
Yes,
the pullouts and I mean, let's talk about that because we're talking, you know, years later.
Yeah,
and it used to be like, you know, you had negging and you had, you know, your blowouts and even more, you know, shit testing and what's changed?
I think a lot has changed. I'm like so happy with the way that things have changed, especially like not only personally the way that I teach, but the way that it seems like at least, you know, the company I work for, Love Systems, the way that our sort of teaching methodology has changed. It's gone from what used to be sort of catered around getting guys laid, I guess. I mean, that's probably still a part of it.
Sure.
But it's more about confidence now. Like the first thing I always say to guys at my course is getting better with women is the smallest thing you can take away from this course.
Right.
Because it's not really about that anymore. The way you get girls is by being a good man, right? And so, and a good man can mean anything, but the way that I teach it is, you know, being confident, you know, secure, a guy that has his stuff handled, a guy that has his work handled, his relationships handled, his morals straightened out, has a firm grasp on who he is and what he needs to do in the world. And that is more about what the course is about now. It's not about like, this is how you get phone numbers and get your dick wet, you know. It's more about like, this is what a good man is, and these are the types of qualities that women are attracted to. And if you can adopt these qualities and become this person, women will be the foregone conclusion of that. So, so it's more about that. In a lot of ways, it's become very more self-help, targeted, I guess, or focused. So it's a lot more on personal development and confidence training, I suppose, which for me is great because that was, even when I first started, I was like, man, getting girls is not that difficult. All you got to do is be honest and like be cool and be. I mean, I had really no idea how to teach game back then. So this is like literally my thinking. It was like, just be cool, man. Just be cool. Just be funny, be cool, and that's it.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, why is that so hard? Be funny, be cool, wear cool shit, and have a mustache, and you're good. And
or an eye patch.
Yeah, or an eye patch. Yeah, be a pirate. Yeah, exactly.
Your show's like,
yeah, that's it. It's easy. Yeah, but changed. Yeah. So. But it's good, man. I'm really happy with it because like you see guys now. It used to be the transformation over the weekend was like, I got 3 numbers and I got to make out in the bar. And now the transformation over the weekend is, holy shit, I think I understand myself as a man and understand where I need to go in my life next in order to become the person that I've always wanted to be. And that's a way better realization. So I'm really happy with the progress we made in that regard.
That's what, you know, I know Mike feels like that and myself, that's what we've always been about with the men's room is a bigger, like, be the best you can be. You'll get women if you're the best you can be. Like, it's just, that's sort of the side, you know, benefit.
Yeah, exactly.
But you feel so much better about yourself. Yeah. We talk about getting women. I do want to touch on the fact that you're in a relationship.
I am.
Congratulations. I don't know.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's like
that. I'm single. You're in a relationship.
Right.
And partly I envy that. I'm not even going to lie. Because, you know, you date and you're like, no, I want to find someone I can kick it with for a minute.
Yeah.
Is that the end goal? Do you think that most guys are looking for a relationship?
I think it really depends. I think that in a lot of ways there is this evolutionary kind of trait that we need to breed. Now, you don't need to be in a committed relationship to breed, of course.
I've heard you can do that.
You can do that.
Wherever you'd like.
I heard you can. I don't know if it's legit, but I've heard some rumors you can do
Trojan says don't do that.
And I think that the relationship part, though, is actually something that is quite important too. Now, I don't know if this is true for all men. For me personally, since I was a little kid, I've always wanted to like be a dad and have a wife and have a family, and I'm pretty old-fashioned in that regard, and that works for me.
Right.
So, but there's some guys out there, you know, they want to Clooney it, you know, they want to be 45, 50 years old, single, and having that lifestyle, and that's fine too.
Yeah.
What it really comes down to, I think, is what are you happy doing, and what is going to bring you the most fulfillment. Some guys like to focus on different things. For me, it's always been family. You know, work. I mean, I like being able to say that I'm contributing to society, but I don't have a passion to make money. You know, like that's never been a big thing for me. A lot of guys do.
Right.
A lot of guys, they see that as sort of their main goal, and that's okay. And they want to focus on that, and then maybe they're thinking, oh, I'm 40 years old, 50 years old, maybe I'll think about marriage. That works. So I think it really depends. I think that there is something ingrained that makes us long for having someone that we could sort of be partners in life with, partners in crime, whatever you want to call it. But I think that there are some people that it's not necessarily the most important thing, and all the power to them. So as long as you're not withholding something that you really want just because you think it's the cool thing or you think it's the better thing. Because there are guys out there that are like, they really want a relationship. They're like, no, man, I want to fuck a million girls because that's the masculine thing to do. Right. That's not really the masculine thing.
100% agree with you.
So I think it really depends. I love being in a relationship, and I love, even being committed and stuff. Then again, I still have, feelings of envy for you as well, having the single life. I think there's a bit of a grass is greener thing there. Right. So, and I've had situations before in my life where I've been in a relationship and they're like, man, I miss, being single and just having not to call anyone and all this sort of shit. And then I've been single for long periods of time. I'd be like, man, I really wish I could just get laid tonight, without having any effort at all. Right. Like, you know what I mean? So I wish someone could cook me something, or I wish someone I could just lay on the couch with and snuggle with me while I watch a movie. Right. So I think you got to weigh the options and kind of see which is more important to you. And that's, I guess, the answer.
That's a cool. Clearly, when you talk about, let's talk about the pursuit of women, all the things that we go through, and I'm going to use the term game, it'll get you as you become more confident, as you know yourself or aware of yourself, become a better version of yourself, being you at your best level, you'll get women. So that's a part we get. But do you think it also can lead you to a relationship?
Yeah, I think so. I think that naturally what's going to happen when you do achieve these goals you have in terms of being a man, you're going to attract female attention. Women are going to see you the kind of guy that is probably a good candidate for being a boyfriend, if not a husband. Right. So yeah, you're going to be put in situations where you're going to have that option a lot more. Right. Most definitely. Okay. And I think that if you're put in those situations, you may find that you start following through on some of these and be like, I'm going to date this girl, see what happens. And all of a sudden you're dating her for a couple months. So you know what? I really fucking like this chick. I think I could be with her for a long time. And then you decide at some point where you're like, you know what? No, I think this is the one. I think I'd be totally content being with this girl for the rest of my life. Right. And I think that a lot of guys grow up with this idea of love where they think that I need to find a girl because that's what my dad did, and I'm just going to need to get married because that's what you do. And I think that if you abandon that and sort of look at it as sort of I don't need to do anything. All I need to do is make sure I'm happy. And you sort of follow your heart with that sort of stuff. It sounds like a Care Bears episode, but it's true. You kind of have to just follow what makes you feel good. And if that thing that makes you feel good is, I want to be with this girl for the rest of my life, then fuck yeah, do it. Right. And even if you get divorced, I mean, shit, at least you followed your heart, right? Right. And you went through with it. It's a lot better than a life of regret, wishing you did it and never did. Right. And so that's my idea about it. But I mean, shit. Some of my role models were, from a different time. Errol Flynn is one of my biggest role models, and it's not because he was a womanizer or anything. I just I really loved his movies when I was a kid. I didn't even know about his womanizer stuff. Right. I just really loved Robin Hood when I was a kid. So, but anyway, as I read his book and stuff, and the dude was married and divorced 4 or 5, maybe 6, 7 times, right? And his idea was sort of a similar philosophy. It was if you love someone, just marry them, follow it through. Life is an adventure, and see where that route takes you. If it doesn't work out, well, you learn a valuable lesson, but at least you followed your heart. And that's all you can do. I think he took it to an extreme degree, in which case he followed his heart no matter what, even if he was committed. But it's still, I think, a noble effort to do that. So yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Dope. Yeah. I like that you touched on that in terms of not doing what is cool for the people around you. Particularly as guys, we're taught that fucking as many girls as possible, getting as many girls as possible is being a man. And whether or not that's your thing, that's between you and yourself and your morality, but it doesn't mean that you're more or less of a man because you do it. And I'm happy that you've said that because, guys, I think we think that we have to be, you got to be muscular, you got to, have chicks, and it's well, hold on.
Let's me and you, let's do this right now. Cool. Let's list some stuff that we think, because I think we're of a similar idea of what a man is.
For sure.
Let's list some stuff that we think what a man is, like qualities, let's say. So I'll start it off just to get the ball rolling. Let's say stand up for those that need to be stood up for.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's a
100%.
quality that a man should have.
Right. Being able to be vulnerable with those he cares about.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that one too.
Yeah.
Doing what needs to be done for the greater good of those you love.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Allowing those that you love to take the credit for things instead of having to be the star.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
That's really specific. I like that one. Because I've definitely been in those situations too.
Yeah.
Where you just sort of like, you know what? They need this.
Well, dude, that's what you do. I mean, with the guys that you're working with.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I so appreciate it. I mean, I watch your work and I see it. And you could easily go over and say, dude, this is us. And it's like, no, man, this is you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But anyway, like, I mean, we could probably go on forever. But the idea here is that on none of these things that we list is it going to be like, has had sex with at least 100 women.
Right.
Or,
can bench press 300 pounds.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it doesn't matter.
It's not going to be that shit, because that's not what a man is. A
man
is someone who is, I mean, again, we could go on this list forever, but it's not these ideas that I think a lot of guys have about what a man is. And I hope that when you're young, I think it's easier to fall into this sort of idea that that's what it is about.
Sure.
Because you get a lot of testosterone and you're seeing these movies and shit. But as you get older, you realize that it's not really what it's about. So anyway, that's something I think we talked earlier about the biggest difference from
then and now,
6-7 years ago to now.
Yeah.
Not only with love systems or the industry, but myself. It's really come down to that. It's sort of just understanding what a man is,
right,
and living that life. Yeah.
You said movies, and I always think of. I used to hate Superman.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. I do know why. One of the things was that he was indestructible. So I always, as a kid, thought if I ran up on Superman, I lose.
Yeah.
I don't know, as a kid.
Why did you want to fight Superman?
You see, it's totally messed up little kid, right? Like, I was like, I could run up on Batman, and he's just a dude.
Kick that motherfucker's ass.
I can hold him. Like, I'd be like, I got Batman, but
I can take him.
Right? But Superman, I used to think, he's so cocky because he's Superman. Like, But then I started to watch him as an adult and as a man, and you realize there were so many cool things about Superman that I really started to really love. Like, he covered up his super so that he could be with people. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, he naturally was Superman. Yeah. And he put on a mask to be a regular dude, and all the things, like, he'd save the people who needed saving, but he didn't do it as the guy that they knew. He did it as this guy that they, okay, I'm not. So it was all these manly things. So even as we look at it and going, Superman's such a man's man because he's strong or because he gets the girl, it was like, well, I started to see, Superman's a man's man because he's undercover when he does this stuff. He's humble about it. He could kill whoever, he could do it, like, he could run the world in the comic book world. And he didn't. He was on some, like, hey man, everyone do their thing, spread love. And so I started to look at that, and it was just interesting when you talk about the shift. It was like, hey, like, even in movies, even in that stuff, when we've been given the basic version of what a man is, the movies have been telling us what it really, this is what a man is. The Robin Hood. Robin Hood was like one of those amazing characters. No, I agree. I think there's been several situations in my life where I've been doing something where I've had to step back and be like, wait a sec, is this what the man that I want to be would be doing right now? And I think it kind of goes back to that, where it's like, would Superman be doing this? Right, 100%, for sure. And I always had this idea. I used to read a lot of medieval like books, and I used to watch a lot of movies that had like kings and knights and stuff. I remember this idea, like the king was always like this bearded guy that was like, wise and always did the right thing for the people and for everybody else, and was selfless and humble. And this was sort of like the caricature they would paint of kings usually in a lot of the fantasy literature and films and stuff. And I always thought, man, I would love to do that. I would love to be the guy that could just be like him, and just sort of be selfless and do things for the good of people and not for yourself. Right. And so for me, I was like, and that's why I like Robin Hood too. And for me, that's always been a big thing growing up, was like, okay, this idea of modesty and humbleness and selflessness is, I think, really big pillars for what I think being a good person is, and of course being a man. Although I think that those qualities transcend the gender and are just for being a good person. 100%. Yeah. So I agree, definitely. No, I think you said it transcends gender. Yeah. And going back to gender, is good people attract good people. Yeah. And if you want to attract good vibes, good people, good woman, you got to be a good person. You can't. I mean, faking it doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
and people can see through it anyway. I can tell like if someone's faking that stuff, and I think anyone can. Any kind of decent person can 100%. Tell when someone's faking that stuff, and that's sort of the vibe you get where it's like, I don't like that person.
And that's when guys will say like, when I talk to women and talk to them about guys, and they're like, I don't even know why, but I don't like him. And it's like, well, because he's not congruent, and you can feel it in his spirit. And you might not be able to put a logic to it, but emotionally, you're like,
and something's off there. Right. It's like,
And we're the same. Logically, you're like, that guy's like high fiving me, but there's something.
We didn't earn that.
Right. Yeah. I guess I mean, man, we could rap and we could rap for a minute, but I definitely want to before thanking you, maybe if you want to give our dudes watching at home and a couple of ladies who tune into the men's room, I get letters. Ladies tune in. It's awesome.
Oh yeah, okay,
right,
good.
What would you give them as your wrap up, your takeaway, hey, here's what I'm saying?
Yeah, okay. My wrap up. I think we hit a lot of stuff on this episode. Really focused, I think, on being a man and stuff. I think my takeaway would be go out, put yourself in the situations that you need to be put into in order to become the person that you want to be. So, and really that comes down to write down a list. The man that I want to be in, let's say, 10 years from now, what are the qualities that make up that man? It's going to be different for everybody. And I've talked about this at length before, even in other interviews, I think.
Yes, sir.
And I think it's going to be specific to you, but I think you should do that and try to put yourself in those situations, whether it be talking to girls in a bar, whether it be, like riding horses or taking improv classes or any number of things, taking piano lessons. But put yourself in those situations in order to become the person that you want to be. Start living your life as the man you would like to be. Take a step, I guess, out of your head when you're in social situations. One thing that I do actually, and I used to do this a lot early on, when I found I would get too caught up in my own head, sometimes in the midst of a conversation, I'd be thinking, not even like paying attention to what she's saying, just thinking, oh God, what am I going to say next? Or what should I say to this? Instead of doing that, one thing I thought that helped was focusing on external emotional cues. What I mean by that is, what does the room smell like? What is the, what color clothes is she wearing? How many people around you are smiling or having fun? What does the music sound like? What does it like do to you? Think about, man, I'm 31 years old. I'm in this place with my friends. We're having so much fun. I'll probably think back on this memory and think this is one of the best times. This period of my life is one of the best times I've ever had. Be part of that moment and enjoy it, however old you are. And sort of just take yourself out of your head and just sort of appreciate what's happening to you in the moment, and allow yourself to experience that. And just be honest, I guess. So do what you want to do. Be honest, have fun, and that's it.
Dope, man. Yeah. I love. It's not an intellectual thing, guys. So we're getting all this juiciness. So make sure you're not up here with that. You're writing it down. Then go out there and do it. Please do it. Cajun, such a pleasure, man. I look forward to the next one.
You too, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Another
6 or 7 years, man.
Right. I was like, we might have to cut the time short a little bit, but I definitely.
We'll be all old and gray, and have a couple kids running around instead of a dog.
Instead of the dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Well, we're going to continue our conversation, and we're going to see you guys in the next installment. Thanks for watching. Mark Sparks, Cajun, Mike on the camera. Men's Room, we out.
Adios.